How many times throughout your day are you tempted from things such as money, lust, pride, ego, success, things that you see on the internet, people that you compare yourselves to? How many times do you question whether or not this is the path you need to go down, or if you want to pursue something you actually enjoy? Because there's so much around us that makes us feel like we have to set a certain standard, we have to meet a certain standard in order to do it right, to consider it something good or right or successful. And in this hustle culture that we live in today, it's almost impossible to be satisfied with who you are and be satisfied with your specific purpose, because I've struggled with it too. And I've realized that pursuing those things that I see other people doing and other people having success in, that brings me no fulfillment whatsoever, because I realize I'm trying to be someone who I'm not. And that's why I want to make this video, is I want to talk about why pursuing your specific purpose, why pursuing your passions is going to exceed any other expectations that you see on the internet that you think you might need to pursue, but it doesn't really feel like you. This will bring you more fulfillment than anything else. Money, pride, success, fame, whatever it might be. You have a specific purpose tailored to who you are specifically. And that is always going to bring you more fulfillment than anything else. I'm 21 years old, in college. There's a lot of stuff going on around me, a lot of new happening in my life. And I'd like to think that I've taken a somewhat mature approach to college and using it as a way to kind of find myself and figure out who I am, because I didn't really have much of an idea going into college. Still don't know if I can say I do, but I know I'm on a better track now. And something I've really struggled with is not feeling like I'm enough, not feeling like I'm doing enough, or feeling like I'm doing what I need to be doing. And when I look back and think about why I actually feel that way, it's not because I'm lazy or I'm doing everything wrong. It's because I'm comparing myself to something that I see on the internet, or some of my friends that are getting internships, or someone else that's doing this and someone else is doing that. And I compare myself to them and think that, okay, well, if that's what they're doing, maybe that's right. Maybe that's the right way, because that's what we've been told, right? In this society we live in, the world we live in, it's all based on what you're told, I feel like. And that's just what you think is right. You go to college, you get a degree, you get a job right after. Find a way to make the most money, right? Then settle down, work 9 to 5, start a family, right? We've all heard that before. And I think most people are starting to realize that that's BS, right? Not to say that you can't live a life like that and it'd be completely BS, but there's so much more to life than college, degree, 9 to 5. There's so much more to life than that. And that's what I've realized is, personally, I'm going to pursue whatever God calls me to do, right? Whatever purpose God has for me, that's what I know I need to pursue, because that's what's going to bring me more fulfillment than anything else, right? No matter what job it is. I've never looked into my future and thought, I could really see myself, doing that job. I could really see myself finding this job that's perfect for me. Like sitting in an office or something. What fulfillment is in that? Who cares if you make good money? If I'm sitting at a desk all day, working 5 days a week, making good money, but I'm not getting any social interaction, I'm not, flexible with my schedule, I'm not able to do the things that I enjoy, and I'm just feeling like I'm kind of glued to a goal of making money, why do you think that's going to bring you fulfillment? I'm not saying that this can't. Some people are called to do that, and they'll do great at, whatever that industry might be where it's required a lot of time, a lot of effort for good financial gain. But there's so much more to life than just money. And in this hustle culture that we live in, that's all everyone thinks that you need to do, right? Get better, build your value, start a business, make a lot of money, and then you're successful because you make a lot of money. Absolutely not. Just because you make money doesn't mean you're successful. And what the beautiful thing about this life that we have, the life that you have, that you've been given specifically, tailored to you, is that you have the ability, you have the option to see however you want to see life however you want to see it, and to pursue whatever you want to pursue. Now, I like to think that every one of us has something that's special about us, that's unique, right? Even I can say now that some of the things that I did when I was a kid, I still do them now. Like that personality that I had when I was a kid, part of that is still tailored to me now, because that's just how I'm made, right? That's always going to be a part of me, like that goofy side of me. Like I've always been a goofy kid, a little troll, you know, I've always been a troll. I still am, and that's just because that's just how I've always been. Those traits that you have that you know just make you you, stick with that. Don't try to throw those away, because that's what makes you you. That's what makes you unique. And that can help you find your purpose. That can help you find the things you're passionate about. For me, you know, music is a thing I've always been passionate about. You know, whether that was SoundCloud era. I'm not going to let y'all in on that. You don't need to know about that. But I did go through a SoundCloud era. You know, it wasn't just like some, you know, Lil Pump SoundCloud era that you might have heard back in the day. But I actually took it serious. Made pretty good music, I like to think. You know, I took it serious. I really enjoyed music. I made beats for a while. I played piano for a little bit. And now I'm playing guitar, which is definitely what I should have picked up from the beginning. But, you know, everything happens for a reason. We found it now. I love guitar. Like, that's my favorite hobby right now. Working out. That's something, another thing I'm passionate about is, since I started working out 4+ years ago, it's always been something that's kind of stuck with me. And I really enjoy that journey of just, you know, improving your physique. A lot of mental stuff goes into that too. Learn a lot of mental things, and it's carried me a long way in life, and that'll never leave me, right? That'll stick with me forever. So there's just things that we all do that we're very passionate about, and we need to make sure that you stick with those things, because that could be part of your purpose, your passion, right? And at the end of the day, it's so easy to just not make time to do the things that you like to do, or to learn the things that you want to learn, or to give yourself the time to think about who you really are. And I guess I'm fortunate enough to have the time right now to be able to do that as I'm in college. So I have a lot of time to just kind of process, you know, where I'm going in life, what's happening around me, and just do a lot of self-reflection. And I'm very blessed to be able to do that, and to see things where they are, and to be able to reflect on those things that I see and learn from them. And I think it's a gift that I have, and I'm blessed for it 100%. But you have to be alert. You have to be aware of who you are, and you have to be aware of the path that you're going down, and whether or not it's the right path for you. Because you think about all the people that are depressed, you think about all the people that don't have anything to pursue. And this is something that I've realized, you know, I've seen everywhere being in school. There's a lot of young men especially that don't really have anything to pursue. And, you know, you see things that lead to depression. They find other things to put that pursuit into, right? They find other things to place that energy into, such as, you know, drinking, drugs, partying, gambling, sports betting. I mean, who would have thought sports betting would have been such a big thing? It literally takes no effort whatsoever. But of course, it's in our nature, right? We're, you know, ladies watching this, I'm talking about men right here, especially because men have a very big sports betting addiction, right? That's a huge thing right now. But the reason we're like that, right? The reason as men we're like that, I'm 21 years old. Who am I to say that I know a lot about men, right? But it's how we're made, right? It's how we're made. And I've realized this because I've seen it everywhere. Whenever you have nothing to put your energy into and to pursue, you're going to find other things to put it into, such as sports betting, right? The reason we are so obsessed with sports betting is because, number one, it doesn't really take much effort to do it, but it's very competitive. And it makes you get in this competitive state where you're just like, all right, I'm taking a risk. I'm putting my money in that. I'm taking a risk, right? And that's just in our nature as men to want to take those risks. Now, if that's in our nature, if that's who we are, if that's what we're meant to do, why not put that energy into other things, right? Like improving your physique, right? Getting healthier, getting more in shape, pursuing a business, pursuing something that you're passionate about, pursuing things that you know are going to make you better. Not sitting around, not throwing your money on something that's taking little to no effort, right? Because you saw an X post about it, and so you think that's the best thing to do. But hopefully you see where I'm getting at, is that you have to have an aim, right? You have to have something to place that energy into, because if you don't, you're going to place it into things that are around you, and you're going to conform to those things, right? The Bible says, do not conform to the laws of this land, right? But be transformed by the renewal of your mind, right? You need to learn how to think differently and see the world differently, or else you're just going to conform to the things around you, and that's what's going to keep you stuck. That's what's going to keep you feeling like you're not really pursuing anything in life. And you see what that leads to, a lot of other things that are negative, that can be negative. And I'm saying this because I've dealt with this myself. I've realized this firsthand. I've realized that when I don't have an aim, right, when I don't have a direction, a pursuit that I think I need to be going in, what's there to live for? You're just drifting. You're practically drifting around, waiting for things to kind of come up in your life, and then maybe you'll pursue those things that come up, but half the time those things that come up aren't going to be very fulfilling. And I'm speaking from a college student perspective, right? I don't have much going on in my life, but I've seen a lot, and I've seen a large part of how life really is just being in college, and how you can't wait for things to come your way. You have to take action. You have to pursue things on your own. And by doing that, more opportunities will open up. And I've been grateful enough to, be involved in a number of organizations on my campus and really know what it's like to be a leader, based on just people telling me that I am a leader. If it wasn't for people telling me that, I would have no confidence in myself in being a leader. But I now know that that's just part of who I am. And so I realized that, and I acted on it. I was like, if this is how people see me as, I want to bring my value to this world. I want to bring my value to this university. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm actually starting a club for fraternity men on campus about being leaders, about branching out, uniting each other so that we can empower each other to pursue things that are going to bring us value, that's going to make an impact in our lives and in the world. Because we've completely took that attention away from men, especially. And, this video isn't tailored specifically to men, but it's just the biggest problem I've seen is among men. Not even just at my school, but everywhere. Guys just don't have things to pursue that they want to pursue. And again, you see what happens when you don't have the specific things in mind that you want to pursue. You pursue other things that are kind of given to you. And most of those things are just going to allow you to conform to this world. And they're going to bring you down. They're going to bring you unfulfilled. And it's going to lead you really no direction. And I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want that. So hopefully, if that's something you were struggling with, maybe consider that. Maybe consider, do I really have an aim? Do I really have something that I'm working towards? And I'm not saying I do this perfectly. Sometimes I do struggle. And I realize, okay, I'm kind of drifting right now. I need to, set the boundary. I need to set the standard right now. I need to assess, who am I? Where do I need to be going? Sometimes you just got to take the time to do that. And I promise just doing that will make all the difference in the world if this is something you're struggling with. And because you have direction and you have purpose. So be sure when you're pursuing those things that you're pursuing it tailored to who you are, right? Not some guy on the internet that you think looks successful, that you think has everything that you want, everything that you want to be. Because I guarantee you, first of all, the way he is now, let's use Andrew Tate for an example. The way that he is now obviously took him years to get there. It's not like you can just automatically become like that, right? He's the way that he is after years of work, after years of character building that made him who he is today. But again, the way he is, that's tailored to him specifically. That's his personality. That's him specifically. You have to figure out who you are. And by pursuing your purpose, your passion, who God has created you to be, by pursuing that every single day, you'll start building upon that. And you're going to fulfill the purpose that was laid out for you. So, that's the main message, is just pursue you. Pursue you above all else. Pursue you above all else. Because you know that nothing will fail. Nothing will go wrong when you pursue yourself. Sure, things might not happen as fast as you want them to happen. Things might not happen the way you want them to happen, but they will happen the way they're supposed to happen, according to God's will. That's what life's about. Put the trust in his hands and pursue you. Listen to him, and he'll provide. So hopefully that helped clear some things up. If this is something you're struggling with, this is something that I struggle with very much so. And once I realized this, it changed everything. And you just need to put it in God's hands and just let him take care of it. And just do what you need to do in the now, for tomorrow will work itself out, right? Remember that. Tomorrow will work itself out always. Just do what you need to do now. Don't worry about today. So, thank y'all for watching this video. Worry about today. Tomorrow's going to work itself out. So, hopefully y'all enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one.